mediocre.
Mediocre strength.
Yeah, but Ultimate Orb as well coming the way of S4. So he's on his way into a Scythe of Vice. So we're going to get Hex, we're going to get Heaven's Halberd, and we're going to get a Silence. That's what's coming out as the 3 next key items for Alliance. As far as the items for LGD go, well, they got their mech. DDC will be able to finish up his treads in just a moment. Xiao Wei, nowhere near that Blink Taker. For that mid-solo, it really didn't work for them. And Yao, well, he kind of wants that BKB, but it's a long way off. And Bane, he just wants to live.
I wouldn't say it didn't work, it's just that this game got so hard all of a sudden. After that one fight that they lost mid,
Silent, not real, not real. Again, like, they've wasted a lot of stuns. That team fight in the middle lane.
These are really good sentry wards the Alliance are dropping when they push top. Look at it. The vision they have up in the river and even down here.
And they leave the Centaur to block that choke point.
Yeah.
Xiao Wei comes out, and they instantly see him. And the familiar stun, they blink in. S4 gets a double. Sylar throws out the stun, but S4 evades. Phase shifts it out. Yao, he's going to go down. Didn't get the RP off. They're backing him out. Sylar goes down one way, and there goes your ensnare. DDC, Sylar will TP himself out. DDC will not be as lucky. Dying on the side. Double kill for Loda. He's 8-4. He is on an 8-0 kill streak after being 0-4 at the start.
Finding them kills now. 8 kill streak. One more for Godlike and just going on this tier 2 now.
And the Halberd has arrived on the Korea.
With the Orchid, they just look so strong.
Yep, I don't see how LGD can defend this. They need more time, but the Glyph is not available. 15 seconds before Mag RP and DD. Ooh, Puck is right next to an EGN. He showed himself. They blink in, they find him, they orb him, he's locked in the corner, and they even with the orb jump straight down to Sylar. Sentry wards, they know what they're doing. Mag will come back, but RP is useless right now. There's basically an AoE stun. And that's the reason why Alchemist has to buy back. No chemical radio for 30 seconds.
And look at that back out by Alliance. It's really, really disciplined how they just back out in that scenario. After even killing the Alchemist, but just with that buyback, they immediately react.
They're coming back though. Naga, ulti, sets up. Yao as well as Sylar. Really which one do they want? The Centaur goes over to Yao. Centaur stomp. They want that RP gone, and they're going to get it too. One charge, stick charge is not enough. He goes down, properly bounces through, and this could be LGD's last stand. S4, nuke again. So hard to hit these things. Puck Dream Call on 2. Now finally the concoction will connect. Soul Assumption charge, but Loda opens up through the rear. There goes your Rocket Barrage. Flat cannon as well. It's GG. Alliance. They will advance. They will face up against the winner of IG versus DK, but they are into the winners bracket semi-final.
Alliance, man, coming out really, really strong after that extremely long game 1 that we had, and they look really happy over in the booth.
Yeah, that they do, man, and they should be really, really happy. Game number 1 was a marathon for them. It really came down to the wire, and game number 2, LGD, they came out with so much control. But Alliance, they hit back, and they hit back really, really hard.
So they did, man. So they did.
Yeah, and man, well, Alliance, they get to enjoy their victory, and we can get to enjoy now moving on to even better games as well coming up. IG versus DK coming up next, and the best guys to talk about both this game just passed, as well as next game coming up, is our boys over at the panel.
Hear you. Oh, there you go. I always like it when I can hear myself in a nice little echo.
You have a very soothing voice.
Yeah, I've got it on tape if you want to buy. It's over at the secret shop. It's really secret. It's not. You have to, it's off of the menu. It's off the menu. Yeah, so congratulations to Alliance, a 2-0 victory there over LGD, and that will secure them a spot in the upper bracket semi-finals, where they, of course, will be joined by Na'Vi and Tongfu. But their next match, they'll have to play the winner of IG versus DK, and that's where we're going next. But let's talk about Alliance and LGD China. So I've got my stuff to say on the game.
Oh, do you?
But I'm going to let you do, because you always ask me, like, what do you think? And I dodge, right?
And you never indulge me, so what do you think?
Well, basically, right, it's like this, yeah? I've got, like, a Shadow Blade, a Yule's Scepter, Force Staff, Ghost Scepter, Boot of Travel, and Blink.
Refresher?
How many items is that? No, I don't know, but you can't catch me. That's how I play my axe.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I'll let you. Okay, so this is my story. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Sweet. Right, where do I start?
I'm ready, James.
Yeah, so obviously it started off better for LGD, just because the Alchemist was able not only to get some farm, he was able to get some kills, and they did shut down Loda. So they won the defensive tri-lane versus the offensive tri-lane. So you're like, okay, LGD are in the driving seat. Unfortunately for them, I felt it was a bit of a mistake that Sylar didn't want to pick up a Midas just to kind of accelerate ahead when he had time to. He went into the Shadow Blade. Obviously, Shadow Blade, you might want to do not a Midas afterwards because you want to instantly fight, but I felt that maybe he should have done that. And then just the team fight potential, S4 was really the big factor. You saw later in the stages, this is a little bit later, but S4 denied the RP twice in 2 crucial fights, which was huge because no RP, and that was the chance that they needed. And really, I also have to give a lot of credit to EGM for his Song of the Sirens. The deny on the mid tower was huge, and also this is one of the fights down bottom.
Yeah, you really have to commend the plays from the support.
I think actually, if we look at Aki, this is really great. If you watch Aki,
ridiculous.
People who actually get the ultimate of Crystal Maiden is amazing. Aki didn't have the easiest time on Crystal Maiden because obviously you're up against a Nyx Assassin, so Spike Carapace. But if you don't get Spike Carapace, he's completely ignored by the rest of the team's stuns, and that was, to me, crucial that they won this fight, because that fight was really big for them. And this is when Loda, he didn't have his BKB yet, he had a really bad time, but then shortly afterwards he was going to get his BKB. But I also, Admiral Bulldog, big pickup for me, for him in the game, was picking up the mechanism. It allowed them to actually take these fights. There was a mech on Visage for the other team, but overall, and then you can see, Loda gets his BKB and he just goes through people.
Basically, where they started getting back in Chart's alliance was the fight on the middle tower, where EGM went in, slept everyone.
Yep.
S4 blinks in with the puck, and Nature's Wrath just hits everyone on LGD. They instantly lost 3 heroes, and despite having Yao having some great RPs throughout the game on Magnus, like we saw Arcus Crystal Maiden on the bottom lane, perfect positioning, as you were saying, and those fights just turned it completely around. I don't think LGD got more than 3 kills, whereas Alliance ended up with 12 kills in a row. And that just, like, I was telling everyone that I was watching the game with that, all right, we're going to 3 games after seeing the early game, because Loda was sitting on brown boots and 700 gold. And I think by that time, Sylar almost had his Shadow Blade and a power tread and some other stuff. But like you were saying, he might as well have gone for a Midas to extend his farm lead.
Yeah, and actually play maybe a little bit more passive and get a bigger advantage. So we'll come back and talk about the game a little bit more, and also the game coming up. But for now, we're going to go to Casey with an interview with Loda.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Loda's here with a little bit of a good luck charm. You want to introduce us to this bear?
Yeah, hello, this is Love Bear. He's the one who helps us keep winning. We won every single LAN event we went to with him, and the one time we didn't bring him, we got kicked out the first round against Mouse, so he's the most important player on the team.
How interesting of a matchup was this for you coming into it, because you were undefeated in group play. LGD was undefeated in group play last year. It was a really exciting first game in particular to watch. So how did it feel going into it?
Well, it felt okay. I mean, we kind of knew that they had been studying us a lot more than we had been studying them. We didn't really do our homework so much, but we feel that we have a quite good understanding of how they play. But at the same time, they are extremely good at getting us to make mistakes that we generally don't make. The second game was quite awful from our tri lane. After you die the first time, it's very, very hard to come back into the game there. But we've tried similar games where the tri lane doesn't work out, and usually we just decide that I will take on the martyr role, and when we have the Naga in the game as well, EGM can step it up and become a bit stronger, and then I can always come back in team fights just with the abilities from Gyrocopter, and everyone on my team was playing extremely well that game, and yeah.
I took to Twitter and asked if anybody had any questions for you. One of the questions that came up was, how much stronger do you think your team is as a result of having so many experienced players, people who have really been around for a long time?
So many really experienced players.
Well, they specified like 2. Maybe just you, no? Yeah.
I don't know. I think every team needs some kind of combination of veterans, maybe, and up-and-coming players. I think we found a good combination where me and Aki can often make good calls when it comes to the late game, or when it comes to especially the bans and stuff like this, where we can make the team like just keep it together and play well. But at the same time, I mean, we're playing with S4 and Bulldog and EGM, and after playing together for so long, they do that by themselves right now. So
You play very well together as a team. As you're looking ahead to the next round for you, which will be tomorrow, are you hoping DK versus IG? Is there a hope that you're going to get to face either one of them in particular?
Well, I spoke to our TK yesterday from DK. We pinky promised that we will face each other in the next round. So, but at the same time, I don't really know. We've played IG before. We've played DK before. Both teams are extremely strong, and I think that either way, the game tomorrow is going to be extremely tough.
Well, congratulations on the win today. Best of luck tomorrow, and hopefully Love Bear there brings you even more love and luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll send it back to you guys.
Thanks, Casey. So there we have it. The secret of Alliance, the bear. And not Admiral Bulldog.
And not Admiral Bulldog's bear?
No.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, no.
Loda spreading the love. I think what he was saying with him bouncing back on the gyrocopter obviously played a huge role. He was 0-3 in the early game and still managed to up on a 10-5-15 score, which is pretty phenomenal considering how bad of a start he had. And that just goes to show how good Alliance team play is. It's ridiculous how they can bounce back from something that experts would deem as a game long lost. Because I don't think
is that what you guys said off camera?
Not on camera.
Off camera.
Off camera, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good for them. It's rare that supports really shine like that and make big plays. EGM and Aki played phenomenally with the Naga Siren Sleeps with that one ultimate on bottom. CM didn't die as much as CM usually does, and I mean, I think that EGM is by far like the best support player in terms of Fantasy League, and it really showed in this game.
Bruno, what have you got for us in terms of maybe a wrap up or any information?
Yeah,
am I
I thought the match was very good, and the players played really well, and I was not watching it.
You're losing it, Bruno. You're losing it.
Yeah, well, it's went there to Cyberman. I had a few beers. We're not really paying attention. But I think I have some stats to save me here. So I'm going to just go into the stats and see what happens. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe just go back to Aki.
So Aki was 3-3 and 19 on the Crystal Maiden.
Which is amazing for a Crystal Maiden. It's all about those assists, that positioning for the ultimate, because you're a Crystal Maiden player.
No.
You play support, you never play Crystal Maiden?
God, no.
Why not?
I hate playing squishy heroes like that with a passion.
See?
If anyone remembers Venomancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one squishy hero I do enjoy playing.
I mean, the problem with Crystal Maiden is not so much how squishy she is, it's just her movement speed. It's a pain because you're like, okay, an ultimate can be amazing if you get into position, but she's so slow.
She's terribly slow.
Is this a call for a buff?
What's her movement speed, Bruno?
285.
Very good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you think it needs to be a little bit faster? I think Gasper is hearing. Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Is he? He is.
Is you?
Yeah, I think.
I have 2 ears.
I think when she frostbites somebody, she gets a speed buff.
Yeah, that would be.
I mean, one of her lines is swift as the wolves of Ice Rack. Who are the wolves of Ice Rack?
They must some very, very slow wolves. That's for sure.
They're just very cold and they don't want to do anything.
So we've been talking a lot about Alliance. What do you think about LGD? It seems like their playstyle is just way too predictable. They pick a lot of the same heroes. Their lanes are very predictable. They're like 5-man strategy. And you were talking about, Jacob, how Alliance picked them because they know exactly what they're going to do. Do you think they need to change their playstyle in order to take home a top 3 finish like last year?
I think picking up the visits instead this time around caused them to get ahead early on, which they didn't really in the first game because of all the melee they had. But again, relying on great RPs from Yao is not the best course of action. I mean, Alchemist is really, really strong when farmed up, obviously, but I'd like to see them play something else than just relying on a great RP to turn the game around for them. Because right now, it doesn't really seem as if they have a plan besides getting the tier 1000, just farming up an Alchemist and praying to God that that's going to work.
Yeah,
they do it really well, though.
But what I notice is like they're so technically good when it comes to team fights. Coordination's amazing, but they don't seem to push their advantages well enough, or use their only advantage if they've got a lot of disadvantages apart from the team fight stuff. So they're still a team that I felt in game 1 are a championship worthy team. Just because of some of the moments they pulled out, but they need to bring a couple more pieces into the puzzle, and from the lower bracket, which they're going to go into, they could come back. And speaking of brackets, In the upper bracket, we are going to go to IG versus DK next. And we can also see now Na'Vi, Tongfu and Alliance have all secured themselves a top 6 finish, but that's not what they where they want to end at all. And this is this is played out. This is how good Dota is in terms of, you know, these were the teams that proved themselves in the prelims. Each one that you thought should win the initial best of 3 in the round of 8 with the quarterfinals has come through, and no one's really had a bad day.
It's just really good testament to how good the tournament format is. We have Na'Vi 1 seed, Tongfu 2 seed, Alliance 1 seed, and DK is a 2 seed too, and no upsets thus far. So the prelims, I didn't feel like it was an extraordinary amount of games, but it was enough so that the top can definitely be at the top and the bottom.
All right. Sorry, I have Voice of God in my ear as well. It's not Zeus. He doesn't talk to me. I know you'd like that. But apparently, we might be able to get the game on the way pretty soon. So I'm just going to say something like something awesome is going to happen, and something will happen.
大家好，我是 DK 战队的 Burning。我的队友，我来一个一个介绍吧。辅助位置是 MMY 和 QQQ。呆和357加入 DK 的话是我提起的。
我觉得每个位置都是很重要的。我觉得就算是辅助你打好了，也很厉害的吧。
他们是老eHome的队员，我觉得他们是非常有天赋的选手，并且他们也很努力。eHome 对于我来说就是我职业生涯的一个起点吧。他在eHome当中，我学会了很多。2号位中单位置 Super， 3号位 ROTK 白饭，他的性格比较外向，比较开朗。他去和一个大象表演的那个他参与那个大象表演吧。他躺在那里，然后大象用鼻子帮他做按摩吧。我觉得我们的一直以来的目标都是 TI，
拿个冠军回来。
徐志雷 ，Burning， 安徽 ，China。
姚毅 ，QQQ， 安徽 China，
白帆 ，ROTK， 陕西 China， 谢俊豪 ，Super， 广东 China，
雷声荣 ，AMY， 广西 China。
So there we have it. DK, this is where we're going next. DK versus IG, and the 5 members are Burning, MMY, QQQ, Super, and ROTK. And I'm not sure if the translator is here from last year, or there really was a story about an elephant giving someone a massage. I don't know if you guys read that. But either way, DK, in Burning we trust, is the saying with this team. He's such a good carry player, but on an individual basis, what do we think of the DK players?
They've done some roster changes since the last TI, and I think it was really for the better of the team. This is like, it resembles the old eHome of 2010, if anyone remembers those.
Yeah.
They went undefeated through ESWC back in 2010 and looked to be one of the best teams to ever grace Dota. And I think this could very well be their tournament to take. I think DK is probably one of the favorites to win the tournament. Everyone is talking about Na'Vi and Alliance and them looking really strong, or IG defending their title. But DK is sort of the team that has been going in very... Sorry, Bruno's
just got a weird little cheeky face grin going on right now.
So I had all the stats in my computer, and I had my computer and my foot. So I just kicked everything. Now I'm kicking things that I should. Okay, I have to wing it, because just keep talking, and when he asks me about stats, I'll have to do it by
Hey Bruno,
memory.
how are stats looking for DK?
Okay, so for DK, I actually remember it. It's all about the Lifestealer and the Dragon Knight. Lifestealer, 6 games, 4-2. Dragon Knight, 6 games, 5-1. These are these 2 core heroes. Sylar, Sylar, that's not from DK. Burning, favoring the Lifestealer as their best carry. And I think they are kind of trying to make this very 3 core kind of thing. The Dragon Knight is a hero that can get into the late game very strongly. The Lifestealer, another very tanky hero. And that's the thing about DK. If you get to late game with these guys, you better have a lot of damage dealing potential, otherwise you won't be able to take this down. They will grind you down. The other hero that's also good, and it's all coming back to my mind, is the Weaver. And the Weaver with these other 2, or just at least one of these 2, fits perfectly, because if you can't kill the Dragon Knight fast enough, if you can't kill the Lifestealer fast enough, the Weaver will just dance through all the other people and slowly deal damage and chip them away.
But
we've been seeing
what do you think their prelim performance was with the Weaver, Bruno?
Their prelim performance was 3-1 in 4 games.
Oh, are you sure? Because it's right in front of you.
God damn, it's 4-0. 3-1 was the life stealer. Damn.
I knew you weren't looking at the preview monitor.
I know, I never look at the preview
You said it with such conviction. So now we can't believe any of the previous stats until the computer comes back up.
It will come back out, but yeah, I'm working on memory.
Sorry, Bruno, I'm sabotaging your...
How dare you?
Yeah, I know.
I thought we were friends.
We are. You might have heard me say Life Stealer. Did you think I said Life Stealer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why. Obviously, Weaver was, as you know.
The other one that was 4-0.
Oh, yeah, okay,
absolutely,
brilliant.
Yeah.
Then DK, on an individual basis, I just want to hear maybe some about the players. I like ROTK, I hear a lot about him with his Furion going super aggressive, his Clockwork as well.
Yeah, we have no idea what ROTK will bring. Sometimes he just TPs in the middle of 5 heroes behind enemy lines and just straight up dies. But it could be seen as like Havos. I think Havos had a Luna one time. He just got completely caught out, died, and then they won because they had no RP. So it could be like tactical deaths. I would love to see a sniper from him. That's what we saw in the All-Star game yesterday. Maybe it was a little bit of preview of what's to come.
All right, well, we'll see if that's the case. And that's a little preview for you guys about DK. And of course, you're going to now meet for the first time at the main event the returning champions, the winners of the 2012 International. It's IG.
My name is Wong Hock Chuan. My nickname is Chuan, and I'm from Team Invictus Gaming. Zhou is a good captain. He always brings us to win, and he always asks us, don't worry about game, just play, enjoy the game. Partly, he always train about the solo, how to solo, and he will go watch another player replay. Face it, we always do something good for the team. And YYF is the best heartland in the world. I think I'm a very good player and I hardcore. I give half of my prize gift to my mom. At the airport, she tell me very good, win the international. No team get double champion in a row like Na'Vi. They almost do last year, so I want to do this year. I want to win.
Wong Hock Chuan, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
曾宏达 ，Face， 广东 China。
洛菲茨，华裔，武汉 China。
江晨 ，YYF， 上海 China。
陈瑶，周，湖南 China。
Invictus Gaming, the team that won last year, and you heard Chon there say they want to win it twice in a row. No one's done it. Na'Vi came close last year, but they were defeated in the finals by this very team of Invictus Gaming. Chun, Zhao, Faith, YYF, and also Ferrari 430. So, veterans,
we could potentially see a winner bracket final between IG and Na'Vi if things goes that way. Yeah. And that could be quite a spectacular game to watch.
And one of the things that I want to know, a lot of people have said, IG just aren't what they used to be. But at the same time, the players are still there. So they can, just like LGD, like a lot of people thought okay, they might not make it all the way, but when they show you that game 1 versus Alliance, like what they're capable of skill-wise, Invictus Gaming have the skill in every single player, surely, to win the whole thing if they come together as a team.
They have the skill, they're just slower to adapt than, let's say, Alliance. Like, Alliance picks CM and they pick other heroes, but LGD China, very predictable lineup. IG, they experiment sometimes, but not to the point where they're actually comfortable with using it in important games.
Malc, Bruno, what do you think of the Invictus Gaming roster?
I don't think it's a matter of teams being worse off than last year. I think it's a matter of Alliance and Na'Vi stepping up their game and really being able to show that there's other top dogs in the game now. And Tongfu as well. Like I was saying yesterday, I thought Tongfu could very well go ahead and win the entire tournament.
But specifically, IG a top dog for you?
Not the top dog this tournament, but I can still see them very well end up in top 3 and potentially go into a grand final and cause an upset. Last year, at this point in time in the tournament, I wouldn't have predicted Na'Vi to go all the way. So anything can really happen, well, all the way to the grand final.
Yep, Bruno, anything can happen. What will happen?
I think IG is on a transitional period, and that's their biggest advantage as well, because they're playing what they know how to play well, which is the Chen Shadow Demon dual lane rotation, the Lifestealer that always worked for them. But also they've been starting to pick some heroes from the Western play style as well. We have the Outworld Devourer, the Treant Protector for them, and recently the Timbersaw, which was their 2-1. And that's ROTK playing the Timbersaw. ROTK, this crazy player that can be good or just weird. Timbersaw is the perfect hero for him.
All right then, so both teams are obviously going to want to come out victorious in the first game, but of course the whole series, a lot of experience and a lot of skill across both teams, so we're about ready to send this now to the hall. So best of luck to DK and Invictus Gaming.
DK versus defending champions IG.
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome back to day 2 of the International 2013. I'm EC, joined by Draskell, and I'll tell you what, man, we drew one of the best games we could have possibly hoped to draw. DK taking on IG, the defending champions, taking on the living legend that is burning and possibly his final season of Dota.
This is going to be a great best of 3, to say the least, and this one's really hard for me to call. A lot of people coming into this, they say that IG is not what it used to be. The analyst has said that as well. They've been having some internal struggles from what I've heard. So DK, they come into this probably the favorite, but you can't ever count IG out. They were last year's champions. They've always been a fantastic team, and they're trying to pull together for the biggest event of the year. So I think this one is unpredictability for me.
Oh, it has to be. I mean, when you talk about IG, a team that for the longest time, and obviously with the win at the International 2012, it's considered the consensus best team on the planet, but they've just been underperforming since then. When you look at their past results and you look at their most recent results, it's not that they're bad, they're just not as good as they once were, or at least that's what the results would tell you. But as they said at the desk, this team has not changed. This is the exact same talented lineup that went all the way and brought home the grand prize last year. But the storyline to me of this match, Team DK, after 2012, after the International 2012, Burning announced that it would be his last go-around. This would be his last International. So we have a living legend on the verge of retirement who wants to go out a winner, and he has a team behind him that has the talent and the tenacity to make sure that becomes a reality.
Absolutely, and DK for me, I just love watching them play. Ever since the acquisition of their 2 newest players, of course, they've just come up to a new level. Oh, yeah. Whereas DK has always been a pretty solid team. Nowadays, I feel like they're probably one of the forefront to possibly place top 3, maybe even get, the title. So right. I'm looking forward to this. IG, though, they get the second 2 picks here. They're going to get Lifestealer and Visage, 2 incredibly strong heroes. Obviously, if laid together, it's very tough to deal with. And when you start out with an Alchemist as first pick in your DK, it's very common for the Chinese teams to go for Alchemist this tournament. We've seen it quite often, and a lot of the players consider it to be quite strong. However, if you lane against an Alchemist, there's typically not much you can do. Take, for instance, yesterday, we saw Dignitas Universe played Alchemist, and he got held down in lane horrendously by an aggressive tri-lane, and it puts you so far behind that it's really hard to recover. So DK, they pick up a Weaver, could potentially be seeing that Alchemist go mid instead, but IG also leave themselves very open to a lot of lanes left with their picks.
Oh, absolutely. When you see it, the Alchemist and the Weaver pick up, this strikes me as a team that wants to fight, and hell, it's the same on Invictus Gaming. You don't pick a Visage and a Lifestealer to just sit on them. These are 2 teams who want to come out, take command of the game early, and not let up at all. When you look at the bans, you can see the OD banned out, the Chen from DK. Those are lineups that they have struggled against, and we've seen that before, those heroes in particular. So, DK for the longest time had this reputation of running nothing but 4 Protect 1, and they were actually really suffering because of that. They became very predictable. Whenever you looked at their results coming into the early parts of the year, you knew something had to change, and they made a lot of adjustments, and now they're just a stable team that has a lot of different options in terms of how they want to apply pressure. They don't run so much for Protect 1. As good as Burning is in that carry position, they still look to make plays across the map, and since that time, since that transition, that's when they really came back into their own and rolled into the International as a team favorite to, if not go all the way to the grand finals, or if not to win the whole thing, at least make it into the top 4, top 2.
Yeah, I think for this draft, for me, if you see Invictus Gaming's bans right now, they've taken out the Batrider, they've taken out the Shadow Demon, 2 heroes that hard counter the Lifestealer, more or less. Bane is still available, but of course we can see if that's going to get taken up by DK. But The nice thing about having a Lifestealer and a Visage is if you do end up forming a tri-lane, you don't have to worry a whole lot mid-game about you being disabled at all currently. So that's something that DK is going to have to address at some point. You can always pick up things like Beastmaster, but it looks like DK are going to take out another Initiator and a Vessel for that Lifestealer to get into. They're trying to avoid giving IG the aggressive potential. You really don't want to have that happen because you know that right now IG's target is probably going to be the mid game, at least with their first 2 picks, and we're going to see another ban out right here. And I do kind of favor IG's first 2 a tiny bit because, again, the flexibility is fantastic. Lifestealer is what a hero. That's pretty much all I can say.
No, absolutely, and especially whenever you look at the options. I mean, you know, that